How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Garcia, coming off a 2-game sweep on the doubleheader Wednesday, and we saw a lot of interesting takes. We saw Ronald Guzman batting fourth, probably having the worst game of any player I think I've ever seen. The guy went, 4 strikeouts, and then he had that ground, he had a double play to first base with the bases loaded and no outs. The Yankees tried to lose that game, desperately tried to lose that game, if not for the youngsters coming in and making an impact. IKF getting into scoring position, getting that RBI single in the 12th, and then bam, Oswaldo Cabrera gets that awesome little just slap single to left field, and he needed that so badly. I don't think he had a hit in 25 at bats or something like that, and he finally comes through. Huge confidence booster. Second game of the doubleheader actually comes out and gets a nice little hit to boot as well. So very excited about Oswaldo Cabrera. Hopefully he finds his bat. Defensively, he looked unbelievable again. He had another play where he gunned a guy down at home plate and had a sliding catch. He's just been all over right field. I don't know how, if he starts hitting, I legitimately don't know how you move him from right field. Someone thought that I was kind of silly to project that maybe if Oswaldo starts hitting, maybe in the playoffs, they have him at right field, Judge in center, and Harrison Bader in left, something we discussed recently if Andrew Benintendi isn't healthy by then. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Do you think that that's crazy? I do want to discuss this new shortstop third base combination we did see yesterday and how well they performed. But before we dive into that, I do want to ask you, is it possible that Bader ends up in left and Judge stays in center and, Oswaldo, if he starts hitting, stays in right for the playoffs?
Yeah, so first off, Cabrera's played a remarkable right field. It depends on Carpenter's health as well. Do they want to play Carpenter in right field? How well is Cabrera hitting? How healthy is Carpenter? But with the updates we have on Benintendi and Carpenter, there's still massive question marks. Not just for September, but for October. You're not going to throw in Carpenter to rehab games, basically, in the postseason. If Cabrera can figure out his swing and give you league average offense, he's going to be the right fielder for this team. He's a great defensive player. 8 defensive runs saved in right field, and he's played 112 innings out there. That's ridiculous. So I definitely do think, you kind of configure your outfield. You could put Bader in left or imagine Bader plays left. I've never seen Judge play left, and I don't think that'll ever happen. And again, we talked about this before, I believe a couple days ago, where I mentioned I think Bader's best tool is his range. I think the biggest struggle with left field is the amount of space in left field. And so therefore, Bader in left field just makes more sense than Judge in left field. Looking at this infield as well, you mentioned it yesterday. You were talking about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third and Oswald Peraza at shortstop, and you can argue those two guys were catalysts for the Yankees winning. IKF ties the game in the bottom of the 12th, and then the Yankees go on and win it on Oswaldo Cabrera single. And then Oswald Peraza had 4 hits and a walk in that doubleheader, and kind of thought that's a grand slam. We're at the point in the season where, in terms of offensive runs, according to Fangraphs, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has just as many as Josh Donaldson. So they're the same offensive player this year when you adjust for, base running and at the plate production. I do think the ceiling is higher for Donaldson, but if we're getting the same offensive production, we mentioned this, playing the hot hand, you got to play the hot hand. And you got a guy like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who in just 900 innings at third base has 16 defensive runs saved and 19 outs above average. He might be the best defensive third baseman in baseball. There's a good argument for that. So, if he's going on and giving you Nolan Arenado defense at third base, because that's what the numbers tell you he's giving you, even if he's giving you a 90 WRC plus, you'll take it at third base. That's a 3-win player right there. And if Peraza's hitting the way that he's been hitting, lately, you feel pretty good about the left side of your infield. I mentioned this where I talked about if Peraza and Cabrera can give you some offense, you feel a lot better about the left side of your infield. Now they're giving you some offense. Now they're helping you. Let's see if they can continue that today, tomorrow, next week. We play Tampa, then the week after, all this stuff, right? If they can give that, if they can maintain some good offensive production down the stretch, you fix a lot of your problems in the infield. LeMahieu's banged up right now, but I imagine as, if he gets an IL stint, it'll help him come back to full strength 100%. Gleyber hit a big home run yesterday. That's good to see. We need Gleyber to turn around, because Gleyber being even an okay hitter would help the Yankees a lot. They have a black hole at first base, and that's kind of the big issue here. Ronald Guzman cannot play the position. Not that he can't play the position, he can't hit. The dude, the guy was brutal. Hopefully he turns it around for his sake, because I don't want him to go down as a guy who just Yankee fans hate universally. But this infield the division of this infield opens up if IKF can give you better, if he can just be 90 WRC plus guy and play the defense that he's supposed to play at third base. You feel a lot better about this infield. You have Peraza there. That's a very strong left side of the infield. They'll probably hit 8 and 9 for a lineup, give you good speed, give you good defense. If you want to upgrade the infield, you worry about that in the offseason when we get there. If, But for now, we need to work on winning a World Series. I think that infield gives you the best shot of winning one.
Yeah, look, we discussed this yesterday. Our preferred infield would be Rizzo at first, I guess DJ at second, and then you have IKF at third and Peraza at shortstop. Now, where does Gleyber Torres fit into the mix? I guess you kind of use him as that utility man. You put him at, I guess not really utility man, but you just kind of allow DJ to be that utility guy, just mitigate fatigue. Gleyber just goes in, suits in at second base, and DJ can just kind of take reps at first to help Anthony Rizzo manage that lower back issue that he's having. He can fill in at third base to give IKF a day off. He can fill in anywhere, really. So I think, you still use DJ in that way like they have been all season. And Gleyber Torres, hopefully he snapped out of that cold streak, had that big 2-run homer, high inside pitch, fastball, just roped it to left field, and a 2-run blast to tie the game at 3 and give the Yankees a chance to win that game. And they ended up doing it. So in the 12th inning, he also had a walk, I think, to load the bases in the 11th. And that's when Ronald Guzman had his other idea in mind to get the Yankees out of that inning without scoring any runs. But IKF yesterday, third base IKF seems to be a whole different player. I don't know if it was revenge game against the Twins or it was IKF pissed off. He wanted to showcase something, but I like the third base version of him a lot more than the shortstop version. We've been very critical of his play, rightly so. His numbers did not indicate much, success over the past couple of days, or past couple of months, actually. And he won, essentially, he helped win those 2 games yesterday. He played a big part in the second one, obviously, with a grand slam that really changed the course of the game and blew it wide open. But I'll tell you what, I think that if he continues to play well at third base, and we know he's a very, very good defender at that position, they should keep him there. And, we've been critical of Josh Donaldson as well. He's on paternity leave right now. This is a guy who has had some issues defensively lately. He has been not so great offensively. He's been polarizing, definitely inconsistent. He can be your DH if you need him to be. He can be your fill-in if you have any other injuries or any inconsistencies. He's a guy that can play the hot corner if IKF, transitions back to shortstop. And then you have, obviously, Peraza, who could play second as well, and maybe you just utilize him sparingly. But Peraza yesterday, we always wait for games to showcase what exactly these guys are capable of. Like, what is Oswald Peraza capable of? If he hadn't hit anything the next month, if he really struggled, a couple hits here and there, we'd be like, okay, you know what? He probably just isn't ready yet. The guy had 4 hits yesterday, my friends, in one game. 4 hits in one game, one of them off an E5 infield single. But, this is a guy who just came in and made an impact immediately. He finally got a couple of games of consistent reps and at-bats, and he's starting to see the ball a little bit better. And I think that's kind of what we need to focus on here is Peraza took a big step forward offensively, seeing the ball at the MLB level. Defensively, he looked sharp. He looked smooth. He didn't make any bad mistakes. He looked comfortable. That's the thing. Sometimes IKF at shortstop just looks uncomfortable to a degree, and that kind of concerns me. But Peraza, he's already making an impact offensively. Obviously, I said the 4 hits yesterday, 3 hits really, and the 4th was that infield single off the E5. And then he had another single, against Minnesota in the second game. He had a double, actually, and he had a run as well and a walk. He struck out once yesterday over 8 at-bats. That is tremendous. He's only struck out, 5 times in his last 5 games over 15 at-bats. 4 times, sorry. 4 times over his last 15 at-bats. That's a pretty solid number. He's showcasing some good eyes, some good vision. I'm very curious to see how he continues to develop in the culmination of these efforts. But I'll ask you this, Ryan. Do you think that Peraza's success can be sustainable over the next month? I know, we're kind of talking about the combination of IKF at third and Peraza at shortstop, but how realistic do you think it is that Boone just starts rolling with those 2 guys as the primary guys? What is the probability of Donaldson just taking a seat on the bench when he comes back if these 2 guys continue to play well?
Yeah, so I think that if you look at Peraza's offense, right, we know that the way he hits, he's a guy who's going to chase a lot, so the walk rates there are going to be great. It's 5.9% now, kind of reflects that. The strikeout rate's 23.5%. It was 23.3% to AAA level. If we look at projections, if we want to kind of get a computer-based number here, or computer-generated number, they project him to be a league average hitter, a 100 WRC plus bat on the dot. With an OPS above 600 or nearing 700, because league average offense this year is terrible. So 700 is probably league average, if not better. So, I mean, they project Peraza to be a league average hitter. And if you're getting the good defense, he already has a defensive run saved at shortstop. You feel pretty good about what you're going to get from Peraza if he gives you that good defense and he gives you league average offense, right? Again, I think the Yankees upgrade at shortstop is getting league average offense with that improved defense. We see with his arm, he's just got a really good arm. He's got good, he's got good tools to play defense at short. He's a fast guy. He's got great speed. So if I'm looking at Peraza, I don't know if I don't think he's going to sustain, his OPS, I believe, is nearing 800 right now. I don't think we're going to see 800 OPS Peraza, or 750, excuse me. I don't think we're going to see a 750 OPS. I think it'll drop to closer to 700, but I think that's still good enough for me. I think the Yankees would take that any day of the week, considering that Josh Johnson was playing third base and Gleyber was struggling. And those were your two of your starting infielders, not even 2 weeks ago. So, Peraza gives you upside. I think the bat is kind of the limited upside thing there. I think he'll never be better than a kind of better than average hitter. I think he'll give you average offense. I think you get if you play a full season of Oswald Peraza, you'll get a 3 to 4 win player. And that's good enough for me. As you mentioned, Isaiah kind of left at third base. I think that's another 3-win player right there playing third base. So getting to better than league average players at third base and shortstop, it's an upgrade. I see that as an upgrade. And then you kind of have LeMahieu file out at second base and Rizzo at first, or maybe Gleyber at second, depends on how LeMahieu's health is. But you feel good about your depth. You feel good about your infield. You feel more competitive in games. You feel like you have every single day, you have a group of position players in the right spots. I think a big problem with the Yankees is that they oftentimes don't put position players in their natural positions. And we've seen how much better they can play in their natural positions when they're comfortable. We see the defense get better. This team has taken a lot of pride in themselves defensively. I think that's something that continues to be the case throughout the season. I mean, this team, in terms of defensive runs saved, this team is at 97. They're going to be one of the few teams to reach the 100 defensive runs saved threshold, and they have well over 20 outs above average. In terms of ultimate zone rating, UZR, they're also very good. They're top 5 in the league. So this is a strong defensive team. This is a team that's going to continue to play strong defense if they put guys in the right spots. And if you play strong defense and you get league average offense from your infield, and especially with two guys on the left side who are very fast, you're going to go out and you're going to win a lot of games. So, you get league average offense from the rest of your lineup and let Aaron Judge terrorize pitching and hit, a billion home runs and put balls into seats that I do not think regular human beings should be able to put balls into seats, Like, there's no way Aaron Judge should be hitting. I've never seen the guy hit. Pause, big time pause there. I've never seen anyone hit the way Judge has hit in my life. But he just needs some decent protection so that they can't just walk him every time. The Twins intentionally walked him, I believe, twice after he hit that home run. They're scared of the Judge hammer. But I think I feel good about this infield if we just have the right third baseman play. We have a third baseman playing third base, not shortstop. We have a shortstop playing shortstop.
Yeah, go figure. Guys playing the positions they're most comfortable at. Why is it taking us so freaking long to figure that one out? Peraza is a traditional shortstop. He should have been playing there the second he got called up. Donaldson, IKF, with Donaldson's struggles recently, IKF actually performing quite well the last couple days here. I think that justifiably so. He should be playing on the hot corner, and the Yankees should leave it that way. Let's not mess with things that are working. How about that? When Josh Donaldson comes back, boom, don't mess with things that are working. Don't fix what's not broken. I feel like he's always trying to tweak shit to the automatic lineup generator that people keep mentioning. And then you have Ronald Guzman batting fourth cleanup and playing first base. I'd rather Marwin Gonzalez play first base than Ronald Guzman at this point. I did that in the second game, and it looks a little bit better. I'm definitely, I can't watch Guzman go up there and strike out 4 times again. This is not a sustainable method, like working around your, okay, when you're having to work around your cleanup hitter, you have a freaking problem. Okay, Guzman, like, you're basically an automatic out. And if not an automatic out, you're grounding into a double play with the bases freaking loaded. So maybe, and then when you're running to first base, you look back and slow down and don't actually hustle. He'll probably never play for the Yankees again after that, I have to imagine. We need Rizzo back badly with that being said, at least DJ to play first base. And, I think they're probably going to put him on the IL for a couple of days and make sure he's 100% healthy, like you mentioned earlier. I think maybe that's probably the best course of action. The Yankees are on a 4-game winning streak without him. So let's maybe continue that here. We have one last game against Minnesota. I do believe Nestor Cortez is back today and pitching in today's game. So that's a really good sign as well. I'm excited to see if he can come back from that groin injury. Again, I think it was phantom. I think you agree with that. They kind of wanted to mitigate his fatigue, mitigate his innings. make sure that he was 100% healthy for the postseason. But having Cole, Nestor getting back into it, Cole had a great game yesterday. Definitely what we wanted to see from him and starting to ramp up here down the stretch. But I'm excited to see what Peraza and IKF can do. Continued at third base. Peraza, I think that home run's coming for him soon. I think Cabrera also is going to get a home run soon. Their defense has been impeccable. I'm very excited to see their progress, development, and how they continue to impact this team in a positive way, especially after a couple of wins and walk-off for Oswaldo yesterday. So very hyped about that. But guys, I'd love to hear perspectives below in the YouTube comments about this combination. IKF at third, Peraza at shortstop. Your thoughts about the consistency of that. Once Josh Donaldson gets back, would you replace them? Would you kind of shift it back to the norm? Curious to hear your thoughts, as always, on this topic. But make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.